We'll just give it a couple of minutes for people to arrive. Okay, I'll kick off now. So good morning, everybody. You're very, very welcome to our webinar this morning with Horizon Engineering Solutions. The topic today is on-site electricity, managing responsibilities and controlling costs. My name is Anna Doherty. I'm interim CEO at the Londonderry Chamber of Commerce, and delighted to see you all here today on what is a very important topic, particularly at this time when businesses are struggling with the ever-increasing costs of doing business. So huge thank you to Horizon Engineering Solutions for bringing this topic to the webinar for us. In a moment, I'm going to hand you over to our panel, who consists of Michael Burrows, who is the Managing Director of Horizon Engineering Solutions, and Sinead Brennan, who works alongside him as Training Manager. And they'll be presenting the topic today, and will be joined a little later themselves by John Feeney, a customer who is Maintenance Manager with Nellypack Healthcare Packaging, who has experience of working alongside Horizon with his own company. We will have some time after the presentations and discussion for questions. So any questions that you have along the way for any of the panel, or even for John or myself, put them into the chat box and we'll pick them up afterwards. So just a little bit about Mike, who is the Managing Director, as we said, of Horizon. He's an electrical engineer with 35 years engineering experience. He's worked across the globe in South Africa, Australia, Armenia, and as well as many organizations in Northern Ireland. He set up Horizon in 2015 because he was keen to address Northern Ireland's skills shortage in the field of high voltage power supply. And he also launched the Horizon Training School in 2020 to share his expertise, as well as delivering CPD accredited management awareness in electrical safety, high voltage and low voltage operational training courses, and supplies that training to companies across Northern Ireland and beyond. Mike is joined this morning by Sinead Brennan, his colleague, who is the training manager there, and she joined the team at the start of 2021 with 20 years experience in the food retail sector, franchise and food production. So thank you both very much. I'll invite you now to kick off our webinar, Mike and Sinead, and look forward to hearing what you've got to say today. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna.
First of all, good morning, everyone. As I said, Anna's introduced me. I'm Michael Burrows. Just a wee bit of the background of who we are, just following on from what Anne said. Yes, we wanted to address Northern Ireland's skills shortages in the field, specifically high voltage power supply. And to do that, we established the Horizon Training School in 2020. And what we're doing is we're delivering CPD accredited courses in management awareness and electrical safety, high and low voltage operational training. Our courses are certified through what's called the CPD Certification Service. They're a body that's set up across the UK and Ireland to evaluate engineering type courses for people to advance their careers. We are the first independent facility. Yes, NIE may have one. And what it is, for the first time within Northern Ireland, we have a situation where people who have the right aptitude and qualifications can undertake training at home. Normally, they had to go across to mainland UK, which is an awful expense compared to doing it locally. So we're set up here in Belfast. We also carry out electrical systems audits at client site. The main objective of that is to identify the gaps within existing policies, safety procedures, safety rules, and we would then provide recommendations for improvement and corrective actions. That audit report would then be sent to the client representative for consultation and actioning. All our policies and practices have been set up under the banner of ISO 9001, which is quality, 14001, which is environmental, and 45001, which is health and safety. And we carry those accreditations, and it's integral to what we deliver. So a little video of myself.
We found like a new sign, so we got in contact to see what we could do for us. We performed a gap analysis in partnership with Verizon Engineering and identified a few areas where we could improve best practice with our electrical system. Verizon Engineering is always very professional and it's very clear to me and knowledge-based.
Okay, I touched on it there, and competency is a big issue. And if one can imagine, well, what is competency? If you can see the analogy there of a three-legged stool, where the seat is competency and it rests and it's stable and secure. It's supported by a training leg, a knowledge leg, and an experience leg. However, if any of those legs are missing, your competency will fall over. It won't be as it should be. So just a little analogy I thought would be useful. So what is the requirements? Well, electricity is it's part of everyday life, and it's a vital source of energy which powers the machinery, heats and lights our places of work and our homes. However, it is dangerous. And in relation to electricity, employers and management have duties to ensure, first and foremost, everyone who's going to work on or near an electrical system has the required competency, i.e. the training, the knowledge and the experience to prevent danger. If they are not, they should also be under suitable supervision. It's best that all the work that you carry out on electrical systems is carried out in accordance with approved and documented safe system of working. All electrical systems should be maintained to prevent danger. For the purpose of this short presentation, danger can be thought of as the risk of injury. In many countries, health and safety is often enshrined in statutory health and safety legislation, which places legal obligations on employers and management. Now, the compliance level of these duties can either be so far as reasonably practical, which means you do everything which is reasonably practical to protect people from harm. You balance the level of the risk against the measures that you need to control the real risk in terms of money, time, or trouble. Or it could be absolute compliance, which means regardless of cost or any other consideration, the requirement must be met. Establishment and ongoing maintenance of any safe system work to ensure compliance with statutory regulation first and foremost requires top-level management leadership, which is then supported by managers, engineers, and technicians who should be appointed in accordance with defined knowledge, training, and experience criteria, who will then discharge their duties within defined roles and responsibilities. You also need to have a documented safe working procedures, practices, and rules, and also to monitor through regular auditing to ensure ongoing compliance and continuous improvement. Remembering the writing instructions and rules helps those involved to decide the way the work is to be done and the precautions that need to be taken to prevent danger. It also provides documentary evidence of the procedures adopted, which may be vital in any subsequent inquiry following a dangerous occurrence. Regarding safe systems of work, I'll ask you a few questions in your working environment. Do you have systems of work in place to manage electrical safety? Are the people who you require to work on or near electrical systems competent? And do you have documented and approved procedures, safe working practices and rules, which are clearly understood by those who have to work on these electrical systems? And indeed, are they always followed? If you can answer yes to the above questions, how do you measure compliance and ongoing effectiveness? Now, hand in hand with a compliant electrical system will be a cost-effective and efficient electrical system. Now, as Anne touched on earlier, we are being now bombarded with some of the most unbelievably high energy costs, and control is going to have to be taken. So it's important that you understand what your energy costs are. Just to give you some perspective, an electric motor, a 2.2 kilowatt electric motor, could have an annual running cost of about £1,000. When you go up to something like a 37 kilowatt motor, which would be pretty standard large motor in industry, you could be paying up to 15,000 a year. You've got to monitor and target where you're using your energy and when you're using it. And the other thing is elimination of waste. You turn off what you don't need, or you look at how electrically efficient it is. One of the big problems in a lot of electrical systems is that the what's known as the power factor is very poor. So the analogy I could use to you would be if you've got a glass of beer, it's got beer in it and a large head, you're paying for the pint, but you're actually only getting useful beer. The rest of it, the head, you're getting no benefit from it. So it's important that what you draw from the system, you turn into useful energy. There are other areas where how you're buying your electricity and where you're buying that electricity. And obviously with all of these aspects, you need to have a plan in place and you need to be able to monitor how you're progressing. But as I said, the safe and the cost effective do run hand in hand with each other.
Thank you, Mike. Now I'm just going to show a couple of slides to give everybody an appreciation of the equipment that we have within our practical training area here in Ravenhill in Belfast. And also I want to share with everybody today the client logos from some of our trusted clients who have attended the training school since we have launched. And as you can see, the clients are coming from a vast range of industries. And also on the screen then, I'm happy to share some of our client testimonials. And what I've done is I've only included testimonials from clients within the Northwest region. And I'm very happy to put up at the top, our first female has recently completed both her low voltage and high voltage training with ourselves, which was a great achievement. And we were delighted to have the first female come through the school. Obviously, females are highly underrepresented in the industry, so it was fantastic. And we hope that having Laura through here, that hopefully we can get more females to follow suit. The second testimonial I have in today is from John Feeney, who Anna has kindly already introduced at the start. So John has been working with us now for some time, over the past year, I suppose, and we've developed a great working relationship. So John, if you don't mind telling everybody that's with us today, what made you reach out to us initially?
Again, just some of the things there that Mike chatted about in his presentation there. So being the manager of quite a large group of engineers, so I have a group of 9 and 1 electrical subcontractor on site. I could see that there was, there's different skill sets within that team. So there was, I predominantly have a 60-40 ratio of electrical to mechanical people. So our facility is very proactive in regards to safety. So it is. So we actually looked at some of I spent most of my time in the years here with the facility actually looking at the safety and health and safety and well-being of other people. So I didn't actually spend much time in my own department. So looking at that, I could see that electrical was something that was really high up. So it was something I could see that there was a really high potential with. Just looking around the facility and stuff, Mike's mentioned there about some electrical power and incoming power and stuff. So we have some supplies here that are 400 plus amps. So basically a risk assessment done and deemed that, those are high risk, probably low likelihood, but high consequence, which potentially could relate in maybe somebody maybe getting seriously injured or possibly killed. So it was something that I didn't really know what it needed and stuff. So again, this was the reason why Horizon was recommended to me. And once I was put in contact with Horizon, we could at least then look at what training was needed, along with some of the stuff that we have on site here and stuff. So, and again, we started off this journey with Horizon in quite a difficult time through COVID and stuff, where site visits weren't as easy and stuff. So there was a lot of things that were obstacles were put in place there, but been a pretty successful program so far. So it has. So more than happy with it.
Thank you. And I suppose one element we're always conscious of is the people that we're dealing with. They're very busy in their own roles, and although keen to get training introduced as well, they still have their daily job to contend with. So I suppose, how did you find the process of dealing with yourselves?
To be honest with you, Sinead, from the very first contact I made with yourself, pretty easy, simple, fast flowing. You recommended, I just sort of explained the needs, what we were looking for. That followed on by a Teams and telephone calls with Michael. So those brief conversations just about the site and sort of what I was looking for. From those conversations, I could tell that Mike had a really, really good knowledge of systems, and with him working so long within the industry, I knew just that he was going to be able to provide us with the proper training that we were going to need here. And again, I suppose from a business perspective, you have the legal, the moral, and the personal responsibilities as a manager. So those are the three key areas that I wanted to cover. Especially we run a 24/7 plant here. I can't be here all the time, so it's vital that my people have the skills and the training that's needed whenever there isn't senior people here on site, especially with managing risks around electrical safety. So from that conversation with Mike, we're starting to develop procedures and policies, safe systems of work, safety rules. So again, I suppose with everybody within the health and safety executive, we're all governed by the same rules and regulations. Again, this is something that Horizon are continuously supporting us with.
Thank you. And over the course since we started the training with yourself, John, we've delivered to 11 of your colleagues, both low voltage and management awareness and electrical safety. And it would be great if you could let us know how your colleagues actually found the training themselves. Did they enjoy it? Did they find it beneficial?
Yeah, so just from a personal point of view, just from the first sort of conversations I had with Mike, one of the first things that Mike said to me as a manager, and it's something that has really stood out, is, John, is this a course that you're going to partake in? So I wasn't sure, being in a management position, so I said yes. So Mike said, look, John, I really appreciate the fact that you said yes there, because the reason being is because, if you're the manager of these people, you need to understand these systems as well. Granted, I've been with the business for 24 years, but I've never ever been through any such training, or it's never been offered. So I've seen this as a great opportunity as well. I do find that my team of guys do like some help and support. So if I'm trained in it as well, it's great that I can also help them in their daily jobs and stuff. So it was actually delivered to 9 Nellypack employees. We also have a subcontractor here as well on site, who's an electrical contractor. We actually put him through the training as well. So this guy has worked in numerous different operations and stuff, and they've got he along with my guys have gained a great experience in what it takes to make systems safe. They gained a lot of knowledge in the do's and don'ts. They've gained a lot of knowledge in what's safe, what's not safe. They've gained knowledge in the risks and what they look for. So along with that, we recently have done a lot of refurbishment work here, where machines have been taken out of service, they've been rewired, new control panels and stuff. So all the stuff that we've learned in the training, my guys have been carrying across, like lockout, tag out, just safe systems of work, so that everybody working on that piece of equipment is ensured that their safety is their number one goal.
That's brilliant. It's great to hear that the training's actually been put into practice. They're back where they're doing their daily role. Thank you very much, John.
So sorry, Sinead, just before we finish there. So when we were doing the low voltage course, I had conversations with Mike about facilities and stuff. So our facilities manager here on site looks after sort of the main incoming power right through to all the facilities on the site. So I've seen an opportunity there where he provided a course for him as well, and he was very, very complimentary on what he learned from that.
Perfect. That's good. Thank you. Mike, have you anything else to add?
Well, just the other thing was, John, letting guys go from a site, especially 60 miles away. I think it worked that we were able to set up the training rigs in your workshop. So we kept it all on site, and in case of emergency, your guys were still on site, as it were. Because I know from an engineering manager's point of view, letting half your staff go away isn't easy. So I think it worked very well, the facilities you provided in the workshop and the training room,
Yeah.
I think the guys felt more comfortable perhaps in that environment, that they were at home,
Yeah.
as it were.
And as you said there, Mike, from my perspective, we do run a 24/7 plant here. We run days, nights, and weekends and stuff. So it's very, very difficult to try and get everybody so that everybody has the opportunity to do this training. So the good thing about you guys coming on site there, I was able to make provisions for those people to come off shift and stuff, which made it really, really easy for me to plan and manage. Plan and manage training around a 24/7 rota is very, very difficult. You know, so the fact that we were able to run that over 3 different days allowed me to change shift patterns and change people around so they can do it. So we do run a high volume manufacturing facility here. So but and being honest, it ran very, very smooth, absolutely no issues. And again, that's a really, really big benefit for me to be able to have that option of running that on site. And again, as you said, my guys are more comfortable in their own home environment. So you know, some of them were nervous whenever they first started it out. As I said before, some of my guys are mechanical and don't have a lot of electrical experience, you know, and a lot of them came after the courses, you know, they're really complimentary of some of the learnings and some of the skills that they had picked up and developed off, you know, and there wasn't any of them that didn't say that they learned anything, you know, they all learned quite a bit, you know, from all different aspects of it. So really, really, really good, worthwhile, beneficial. And as well, you know, the fact that you give up your time as well, Mike, to travel from Belfast down here for us, you know, we're really, really grateful for that.
That was my pleasure, John.
That's fantastic feedback, because that's what we like to hear. We do get all our delegates to complete feedback sheets at the end of every training session, and we do take on board all comments, because at the end of the day, it is in our best interest to make sure that everybody that passes through the training school enjoys it and I suppose gets rewarded for the time that they put in, and that they're leaving here having gained more knowledge than what they come in with.
So again, Sinead, just from a business perspective, we've talked about this before. So it'll this course now will be made mandatory for all our new employees who come into my department. As well as that, it'll be added to our involved training system, which will automatically bring up renewals, and this will be again, a part of our ISO.
Super, we're delighted, John.
Yeah.
I suppose at this stage, would anybody that's joined the webinar have any questions for ourselves?
I'm just checking the chat box there, Sinead. So there is a question there from Mike, from Tony Doherty. Mike, what is the biggest issue that companies have in relation to electrical compliance, in your own opinion?
One of the main issues they have is that the competency of the people who are inside the organizations now. A management structure needs to be set up in a company, and often there's confusion at both site and corporate level. So there's no clear organizational structures that have been put in place. And it also, time and time again, how the people who are going to be within that structure, that you know, there's proper appointment procedures with defined roles and duties and responsibilities. So that is the big thing, is getting the structure and getting it driven down from the top management down. But it is, yeah, it is a big problem with management clarity, I suppose, for want of a better word.
And just following on from that, Mike, how would you find out if you are compliant or not? How can you find that out?
Well, one of the things is that we carry out an audit of a site, and we look at key criteria that would, it's really a gap analysis, which Thomas Kelly in the video talked about, where we look at all your existing documentation systems, organizational structure, appointment competency, and how actually on the ground your systems are being operated and controlled. And so we look at that there against what would be an accepted safe system of working. So it's really a gap analysis that we would generate from that audit. So each site throws up different things, but generally that's the biggest issue is with the management. Clear understanding and clarity. Because if you don't have a clear management, it's very difficult for it to permutate down into the system.
And Mike, would you be able to provide any examples, you know, once you've completed a client site audit, you got any examples of that?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, each site throws up different things, but the first one was the lack of clarity on what management responsibilities are, who is appointed to do what, and within what's their boundaries. We also find that when we go on site, that the documentation systems on site are either out of date, non-existent. We'll be looking for things like permits to work, risk assessments, method statements, safety reviews, and that type of thing. Another one is that substations, switch rooms, spaces that contain electrical switch gear are dangerous places, and entry into them has to be controlled. And we find that in some places the access into these areas isn't controlled very well, if at all. And if locks are on the doors, that the keys have not been controlled. So I've often found you go to a substation that's been used as a temporary storage area because it's out of the way. Control and access, signage and identification, a big one, things not clearly identified. As I said, the records, logbooks, manufacturers, operation and maintenance instructions. On the condition side, we often find that they're, at best, some of the plant maintenance that's been carried out has been done on an ad hoc basis or maybe after a breakdown. We don't see a lot of places that actually have a planned rolling maintenance program. In a lot of places, no maintenance has been carried out for quite a considerable amount of time. Things that are often neglected are the earthing systems, the protection systems that control the switchgear. So in the event of a fault, it disconnects when it should do. We also find that a deterioration, especially with outdoor switchgear and transformers, there's a lot of grime and dirt and rust starts to build up, which they're not being looked at. In other areas where the switchgear is indoors, the building maintenance of those areas isn't all that it should be. You're starting to get ingress through roofs, up through the floors, etc. So that general care and maintenance is in some places is quite concerning. So that's generally what we find. Said some sites better than others.
Yes, you must come across a wide range there. I'm kind of just a little bit frightened at the idea of the you know, the electrical areas becoming storage areas.
Yes.
That sounds a bit frightening to me. But I've got a couple of other questions, but if anybody else has any, please do put them into the chat box so that we can put them to Mike and Sinead and John if you're interested too. But I was just quite keen to find out what are the key steps in terms of managing your electricity costs. What are the key steps you would need to take?
Okay. Well, first of all, you need to have all your systems that they're well maintained. That's, as I said in the presentation, the compliance condition is all part and parcel of it. You need to understand where you're using your energy and how you're using it. It's important that you have an energy management system in place, metering facilities that you can actually measure what you're using, because you need to get a handle on what's being consumed and when it's being consumed. And you can only do that through, and then you've got to look at setting targets for that. And one of the things is that you look at your biggest users of power on your site. And I think always with these things, one must question, do I need to use that all the time, some of the time, or is there other ways in which I can eliminate that? Now, there are some engineering controls that can be put in. You can utilize more efficient motors, but that involves capital investment. So the audit, basically similar with the health and safety audit or the electrical safety audit, you carry out an energy audit. One of the big things is waste. People don't realize how much energy is being wasted until they actually take a close look at how their systems are being operated. So it's an ongoing process, but it needs an audit to establish the ground rules. Another area that I found is that even when places are supposedly not in production, there can be quite a high base load running for some reason, and that should be challenged. I think it's basically to challenge why you're using power and when.
Yeah, so I mean, just from that, I mean, I'm taking that on-site management of electricity costs is as much as the rest of us are doing on an individual basis in our homes right now. Everybody's reviewing what they're using their electricity for, and and the costs and how to reduce them. So I guess your advice at this stage is hugely critical because of scale.
Yes, efficiency is a big thing, and it's like anything, like you can creep into inefficiency over a long period of time. And I think one must always challenge where we are and why we're here, and not accept. Certainly in an industrial plant, because the costs are significant. Running electrical motors, big huge cost, and especially if that motor's being operated with a poor power factor, where you've got you're buying kVA, but you're not getting the same amount of kilowatts useful out the other end. And if you look at all these systems, all these losses all start to accumulate. If you could get a 5% improvement, it would go some of the way to addressing some of your spiraling energy costs, electrical energy costs.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. That's fantastic. I'm not seeing any more questions, so I think we may have finished there. And the only other thing that I was interested in was your training school, and what else, how much scope do you cover at this stage? What kind of courses do you cover?
Okay, well, I can take over this one, Anna. Thank you. The core courses that we have at present are high voltage power systems operations, which is a 4/5 day course. And the reason the number of days can vary, it actually depends on the number of delegates that we have in attendance due to the practical element of the course. The other two one-day courses that we currently offer are low voltage competent persons course and a management awareness in electrical safety. We also have the medium voltage course, which is the version for the Republic of Ireland of the high voltage that we currently offer in the north. So we can also have courses available for our colleagues in the south. We're a local training solution, which is very important. Again, we're talking about cost control. So if we're thinking about costs that businesses are currently incurring, they don't want to be spending more on training than they actually need. So we believe it's great that they have a local training facility in Ireland. It minimises the time away from work and from home, which is a positive factor for both the employee and the employer. There is also the added benefit that the courses are CPD accredited, which Mike has already referenced at the start of the webinar. And one of our key areas that we're quite proud of, I suppose, is that we're very client focused. All our course content can be tailored to meet the specific needs of our clients. We also work with our clients to select dates which suit them. So we're very aware of individual business needs. The courses can be delivered either at our client sites or here at our facility in Belfast. The one-day management awareness and low voltage, they can be delivered at client sites 100%. The high voltage or the medium voltage, the theory element can be delivered at client sites, but we ask the delegates then to return back to Ravenhill here for the practical element of that course, which again, whenever John was mentioning, you know, his training was delivered on site, and it removes the need for this key personnel, skilled personnel, to leave the production area. Here at our premises, we also have the added bonus of free on-site parking. We provide refreshments on the day for all our delegates. And it's great that we have delegates coming from a wide range of industries, which you would have seen whenever we were back with the logos which I had on display. So pharmaceutical, construction, manufacturing, recycling, to name but a few. And I suppose one of the positive elements is that many of our clients return. So they don't just put one team member through for one course. They're satisfied, and then they send more delegates to attend either the same or a different training course, which I suppose speaks words in itself. And the feedback sheet, which I've already mentioned, we do use it. We want to make sure that everybody's happy with the training that they receive. And if we get feedback as to how we can make a training course more applicable to those in attendance, that feedback it's taken on board.
Thanks very much, Sinead. That's very comprehensive. We are nearly at the time that we said that we would, so which is perfect timing, that we would finish. So Mike, if there's anything else you'd like to add, or John, before we wrap up?
Well, just from Horizon's point of view, we see this as a journey training, and we would like to continue working in the Northwest and supporting local industries as best as we can on a not just a one-off, on an ongoing basis. So we would be certainly open for that.
Yeah, and just I suppose for me as well, just from a business perspective, it'll be something that will probably build a better relationship with Horizon in the future again, and we'll continue to use them for the foreseeable future, given the benefits that we've seen from our first course we've run with them. Very professional course, very well run. A lot of good stuff come out of it for my people. Again, with all manufacturers, your key objective is that your people return home from work in the condition that they come to. So safety is paramount in all respects. Mike touched on it before. I think there's a lot of people in the industry just really don't understand the responsibilities and stuff around electrical and the responsibilities to their people and stuff. So both the courses, the facilities one and the low voltage one, goes through that in very much detail, gives everybody a good understanding. We do have some courses here, IOS courses and stuff that give that, but Mike, what I really liked about Mike's course was that with Mike being in the industry, there was a lot of real nice scenarios. So it wasn't depth by PowerPoint presentation. There's a lot of free flowing conversations, you know, a very sort of normal training environment. Everybody had their opportunity for any questions. Mike was very knowledgeable. He's been in the industry for a long time, so it's just great to see people that have that experience sharing that with other people.
And that's a ringing endorsement, I think, John. So thank you very much for that. And Many thanks to Mike and Sinead for sharing some fantastic learnings there today. I see there's some thanks from Kieran as well to everybody, some interesting takeaways. And I, for one, am delighted to hear that we have women coming through the industry.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Laura. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. And on behalf of Chamber, I appreciate your time today, everybody. And a special thanks to Mike and Sinead and John today.
Anna,
Thank you to everybody.
Anna, can we just say, can Mike and myself just say thank you very much to everybody that has joined us today. And John, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. And Anna, yourself and your colleagues who has helped us get the schedule for today. We appreciate it.
Yes, very much so.
Our pleasure. Thank you very much, both.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank you.
bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.